Hey, Kilted Warrior here. Hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe if you enjoy the video, and if you want to see more videos covering Baldur's Gate, Elder Scrolls and Starfield, be sure to check out the channel. Otherwise, let us begin. Baldur's Gate, the greatest city in the legendary Sword Coast. These lands have seen heroes, villains and gods rise and fall, in tales as legendary as the great city itself. All manner of races, cultures, factions and individuals call this place home, both above and below the surface, with many more seeing it as a place to be tamed, conquered, subjugated, but also protected. Yet despite the many places to be found, dungeons to be explored, beasts to be slain, mountains to be climbed, in the end, all roads lead to Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 3 is an expansive game that taps into the deep lore of the Forgotten Realms, with legendary individuals, groups, and the gods that have defined its world. I shall give a basic overview of each of the deities, ranging from the dead free to the humble Ilmater, with non-spoiler overviews for those who still want to experience the influential role these deities have in Baldur's Gate 3 on their own. For you guys, you might also want to check out my lore overview before playing Baldur's Gate 3, I shall link it here. For everyone else following the overviews, I will go into more depth on how they impact the story, characters, and even the places we see in Baldur's Gate 3. I will clearly mark these chapters for your convenience.
Ha! That is no surprise, Holy One. You have entered the Stormshore Tabernacle. Here, clerics may commune with their gods, and even hear their responses, if they are so favored.
So what is a god in the Forgotten Realms universe and D&D? A god is a powerful being that normally has a portfolio or set of domains or roles assigned to them by the overgod known as AO, or the overgod or overseer. Yet they come in different tiers, as it were, with the overgod title being the highest tier, reserved mainly for the AO, but also a few other beings mentioned in lore, but they are not important for our purposes. So you have the one overgod or overseer of note, though there are some gods that have been theorized as effectively being overgods in their own right, but I won't get into that. Regardless, most gods come under three core categories, those being greater deities, lesser deities, and quasi-deities, with the likes of Selune, Shar, Mystra, and Kelemvor being definite greater deities, while some like Baal and Merkel, for example, were once greater but are now considered quasi-deities or demigods by most, given what has transpired throughout the ages, noting that these ranks change with the great event known as the Second Sundering, but that's a story for another time. The point is, gods have portfolios or domains, responsibilities that are outlined by AO. If you fail to keep up with them, you may have your power revoked, or a mortal may be allowed to usurp your role, or even another god, like with say Cyric, but also in the mortal case you have Kelemvor and also Tempest. Tempest having gotten his role by outwitting and defeating the original god of war. In Baldur's Gate 3 you will see the influence of several gods, greater, lesser and quasi, yet they are still bound by certain rules and usually must act through agents, notably worshippers who can range from lowly acolytes to the very rare chosen. Remember this as we go forward, as it will give context to what happened in Baldur's Gate 3, as the different gods seek to reinforce their portfolio in the world and prevent intrusion by rivals, and must rely on agents to do their bidding. The Dead Free, the title given to three of the most influential individuals in the history of the realms, both meant to indicate their infamy but also as an insult by their foes. Mirko, the Lord of Bones, Bane, the Lord of Darkness, and Baal, the Lord of Murder. They were once mortals who gained divinity in a bargain with the original god of death, Jergul, each gaining some degree of power over death. Yet the pantheon-defining event of the Time of Troubles proved the extent of the ambition of these gods, as they were not content. Yet what their intentions were was not as important as the result. The dead free were dead, with Cyric, the Prince of Lies, killing Baal, and the new god of death, Kelemvor, and the goddess of magic, Mystra, both mortals at the time, thwarting Bane and Mirko's plans. With the assistance of the god Cyric, who would later be bested by Kelemvor, as Cyric steals the power of the dead free during these events. Now after many years, the echo of these once powerful gods remains, as they have returned as quasi-deities, hungry to return to power. Through death, tyranny, and murder, they would seek to reclaim the power that was stolen from them.
The Edict of Bane!
The Lash of Baal!
With Baldur's Gate 3, the dead free once more seek to scheme, plot, and take what is not theirs. At first, their presence is subtle, subdued, but we quickly see the signs they are involved. The free chosen of the absolute signal that they are involved. Yet the question becomes, were they the absolute in disguise? What were they planning, and who might they be working with? Upon reaching Act 2, we make contact with one of the chosen, known as Kefric Form, who, though pretending to be a pawn of the Absolute, is anything but. For by exploring Kefric's family tomb, we learn of a man haunted by the death of his daughter, and how he abandoned his worship of Selune and then Shar in favour of Mirko, now a glorified demigod, sought out by necromancers. Yet this shows that though a shadow of what he once was, Mirko is still able to perform powerful resurrections, bringing Kefric's daughter, Isabel, back as she once was. Yet there is always a cost, and Kefric, his family and followers would become pawns of Mirko, cursed with undeath, and in the end, Mirko could not save Kefric from his own fate. The scheming of the free would fracture them, and one by one they would fall. First Kefric, then Baal's murderous champion, Orin, toying with her prey, urging a cult of like-minded violent individuals, including Baal's favoured doppelgangers, terrorising Baldur's Gate, and Orin, a second-generation Baal spawn, like the Baal spawn of ages past, would become a slayer, an avatar of the god of murder, only to be slain. But what if there had been a Baal spawn, one with the dark urge to kill, a true chosen child of Baal? Regardless, with then his rivals removed among the chosen of the dead free, Enver Gortash, the chosen of Bane, would seek to rule in tyranny, just as Kefric sought to use the Absolute to create a world-spanning cult of death for his master. And Orin wanted to plunge the world into a glorious slaughter. Gortash would wield the mailed gauntlet to crush resistance in the name of Bane, forging an empire. with no better representation of his master's will than the creation of the Steel Watch, mindless automatons who answered only to him, created by the oppressive factories of enslaved gnomes of the Gondian clan. Yet the free city of Baldur's Gate would suffer no tyrant. Just as Saravok had failed to control the city a century past, so too Gortash would be cast down, his master unable to save him. And so the plan of the Dead Free failed, as much due to their own infighting. You see, all the events of Baldur's Gate 3 occur due to the Dead Free's scheming, their theft of the crown of Karsus, uniting of the Neverstones, and controlling the Elder Brain. All was their scheming to take many mortal souls under their sway. Yet true to form, they did not understand what they were doing, for those souls are lost should the individuals they control become mind flayers. And the Elder Brain, that would become the Never Brain, was too cunning and outwitted the Dead Free and their chosen. The Ithilid would have succeeded if not for the intervention of other deities. Where there are the Dead Free, there is always the true god of death, Kelemvor, and his loyal scribe Jergul, the original god of death. For the purposes of entering the Baldur's Gate 3 world, you would do well to understand that Kelemvor is a cold, pragmatic, but ultimately necessary force for making sure the path of souls is not tampered with. Given the Dead Free's tendency to meddle in souls, existence itself, and with a history with the mortal Kelemvor, do not be surprised to see the agents of Kelemvor seeking to thwart necromancers, but also possibly Ithilid intrusion. For a mortal soul to become an Ithilid is to interfere with the soul, for they have none. It is not clear what happens to those souls, but if events transpire that would cause Ithilids to become a threat on this plane, it is certainly in the interests of Kelemvor and Jergul to make an account of the dead, the souls, and bring them back to order.
So he has spoken, and so thou standest before me, right as always. What a curious way to awaken.
Just as the Dead Free put forth their plan to dominate first Baldur's Gate and then the world, Kelemvor and his servant Jergul would intervene to help make sure that they would fail. For our heroes in Baldur's Gate 3, Kelemvor sends us the aid of his most trusted servant, Jergul, also called Withers. Yes, it is quite obvious from the start who Withers is, but simply put, he is there to keep account of what's happening and to ensure the Absolute, the Neverbrain, and the Dead Free are all thwarted, as for them to succeed would lead his account of the dead to be grossly out of balance. The key to remember is that the true souls, despite their name, are hosts of Ithilid parasites, and though they maintain their souls, should they eventually turn into mind flayers, that soul would be lost. Where? No one knows. For a being like Jergul, one who has never been born, but has never died either, he will seek to assist the group of heroes that we play, calling them back from beyond the veil of death itself with such ease, and at a reasonable price of a few coin, no less. Death itself was adamant that our heroes succeed.
The Dead Three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou soughtst to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. But souls vanish when their hosts become mind flayers. Didst think the other gods would not notice?
Mystra, goddess of the weave, mother of all magic.
Strange. Do you feel that? It's as though the weave itself is rushing past us.
Gale's right. The very air around the statue crackles with magic. It sets your teeth on edge.
Mystra is the goddess of magic, the weave, the patron of mages, academics, and intellectuals alike. Yet there has not been one goddess of magic, but 3. What you need to know about this deity going into Baldur's Gate 3 is that she guards the weave, magic, and that she was once a mortal known as Midnight, who thwarted Bane and Myrkul during the time of troubles alongside Kelemvor. Yet despite being arguably the most powerful deity, second only to AO or Overgod, she is not alone in her duty to protect magic and by extension a key part of the fabric of reality. She has had many champions and chosen throughout the years, and more recently the great wizard Elminster has become her chosen. This legendary figure once assisted the Baalspawn in years past in their fight against Slavov and then John Irenicus, not directly but rather offering words of advice, and his very presence made it clear that the goddess was watching their journey with interest. Yet not all of her favoured followers are like Elminster. Some carry the burden of knowledge, ambition, and personal loss. Just be aware that she is always watching, and she will not allow interference with the weave by anyone.
Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower. A flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his history for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. And he almost managed, but not quite. His entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms, until the day Mystra returned. She restored the weave, reuniting all its scattered shards. Or so I thought.
While Kelemvor might be present through his agent in Baldur's Gate 3, of which they are keen to never reveal his objectives, Mystra is only willing to maintain her distance for so long before more direct intervention is required. Mystra knows the exceptionally talented wizard Gale will have a role to play in the events surrounding the Absolute, and from the moment Gale joins our group of heroes, she is keeping an eye on what's happening. As Gale's condition deteriorates, we find he is in possession of a piece of Nevere's magic that hungers for the true weave in the form of powerful magical artifacts. The seriousness is realised as Elminster, the current chosen of Mystra, at the behest of his goddess, approaches Gale a solution that will allow him redemption for his actions, his prior acts of hubris. Destroy the Absolute, which we find out is wearing the crown of Karsus, and that Gale must die if he wishes to destroy it. Baldur's Gate 3 explores how Mystra, though clearly she cared for Gale as her once lover and the talented composer of the weave that he is, she is also a goddess whose duty must take precedence. Yet she is not unreasonable. She offers a solution, should you agree to return the Nevere's artifacts to her care. She can be convinced to buy Gale time, as she has been doing for some time at this point. Of course, that is not the only option available to the talented wizard, but it shows that the multifaceted nature of the plan of the Dead Three drew the attention of several gods seeking to oppose them. Fitting that the two ascended mortals that once defeated two of the Dead Three should intervene once again. Mystra is near omnipresent. Where there is magic, where there is the weave, she is present. She watches your journey.
May the weave's light guide your purpose, and its wisdom guide your hand. The future of magic rests on your shoulders, Gale of Waterdeep. I promise you, it is a burden you are strong enough to bear.
An inscription reads, "Let all who worship the changing tides of life and knowledge feel the blessings of Selune. Trust in the purity of my light. See the constancy in its inconstancy, and you will be guided aright."
Selune and Shar, hope and emptiness, contentment and cold ambition. Where is the moonlight of Selune guiding mortals to their destination, there is the shadows, the darkness seeking to drag them into the abyss that is brutal and selfish. To the Selunites, the Moon Maiden promises a life of hope, freedom and fulfillment. To the Sharans, this is a lie and a delusion. Only in the darkness can we learn our true selves. Only through devotion to the Lady Shar can we realize our full potential. Love is hope, but also is fleeting and fragile. For Selune and Shar are both correct in their way as they reflect the reality of mortal agency. It is both beautiful, radiant, and also terrible and brutal, world-changing. They are inveterate foes, but reflections of each other. One cannot exist without the other, and what one owns the other may claim. Look to the moon, but be wary of the darkness, for Selune's light and Shar's darkness is within all of us. As Baldur's Gate 3 begins, we are already made aware of the most legendary of divine rivalries, with subtle foreshadowing of the internal conflict, with Shar making herself known, showing that she had been there, but also with a mysterious companion we find nearby, who is one piece in their conflict, both claiming the half-elf known as Shadowheart as their own. The first act makes it clear that their rivalry and their influence can be seen everywhere, with a ruined temple and statues marking this region as being once dominated by the Moon Maiden's followers, yet the echoes remain if you care to listen. Try playing the game through as a Selune worshipper if you want to get a better understanding of this rivalry, if only for the enlightening back and forth with the Shar worshipping Shadowheart. The rivalry in Baldur's Gate 3 is of course found in Act 2 as you enter the shadow-cursed lands, where the once bright and bountiful lands owned by the Form family, a family of Selunites, this land had been turned into a wasteland, where a great battle a century ago was fought between the Sharans under Kefric and the other side Selunites, Harpers led by Jaheira, but also Druids including Halsin, cursed by the Lady Shar herself, with hungry shadows seeking to claim the unprepared or the foolish and the non-believers. At the heart of these lands, filled with the lost and the corrupted, is a beacon of hope, the last light in, with a cleric of Selune, the true heir of the Form family's legacy, Isabel, a representation of the hope Selune offers to those threatened by Shar's cruel shadows. The battle between the goddesses given form in this battleground of hope and despair. For Kefric Form, once a Selunite, given in to despair and becoming a champion of Shar, yet he refused the most crucial element of the Sharans, to give up all attachments except to the lady herself, for he couldn't bear the loss of his daughter. He would defile the temple of Shar beneath his family home, in which he had once venerated Lady Shar in his despair, betraying his family's legacy. Yet he had the gall to imprison the one who would give him immortality, a daughter of Selune, an Aasimar. Yet it is here where the second part of this story begins, as Shadowheart will hear that the Aasimar of Selune's descent knows the truth of her family, her past, her attachments. And so the fight between the two goddesses continues within Shadowheart. She can be directed either way, but regardless, in the end, should you go to Baldur's Gate, you will find the finale of this, where you might be able to confront Lady Shar herself, as well as Shadowheart's parents. In here, in this secret temple beneath Baldur's Gate, Shar on one side, selfish, willing to let all of her followers die just so she can make a point. On the other, the Selunites show the virtue of sacrifice as they are willing to die for their daughter. Shar demands subjugation, demands that you have no connections, no empathy, no love. She is petty, yet also terrifying. And is she entirely wrong about the attachments of mortals? Does it make them weak? Ultimately, the choice is yours. Do you hold on to hope or relish in despair?
Shar is quick to discard whatever she has no use for. I think you know that well enough. But I felt it call to me as I took flight. Whatever Shar calls her own, Selune has equal claim to. They are one and the same. Their power is matched and mirrored. Take it. You will find it useful. What you do with it, that will be up to you. Same as before.
Aside from the deities that play major roles within the story, there are a few honourable mentions which I would like to include which don't have any story spoilers. Ilmater, the empathetic god who suffers, the weeping god, is one of great nobility, and his followers and temple can be found in the outskirts of the great city itself, where there is trouble afoot for those who embrace this god of self-sacrifice. Lephander, the Morning Lord, a god associated with light, rebirth, and healing. His great temple can be found in the mountain passes near Baldur's Gate, where unwelcome visitors have taken refuge. This beautiful temple is a testament to the Morning Lord, as it glistens as beams of sunlight pierce the shroud of fog that covers the mountain peaks, with his symbol towering with pride among it all. Sylvanas, the Oak Father, patron of druids. He is the embodiment of the balance of nature, both peaceful and ferocious in equal measure. One of his many sacred groves can be found in Baldur's Gate 3, as tiefling refugees and druids must contend with each other as tensions rise and all are left to question, what would the Oak Father do? How do we restore the balance? And not only for the grove, but also for the once beautiful lands now cursed by shadow and corruption. And there you have it. Many gods have influence in Baldur's Gate 3, and by understanding them, you can grasp the gravity of what our group of adventurers achieve, and just how important they were in the grand scheme of things, and what was at stake should they fail. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more Baldur's Gate 3 lore videos, but also be sure to give me your thoughts in the comments section. And remember that the question of the day is, which is your favourite D&D deity and why? I would love to hear your thoughts, and feel free to stay for the next section if you want to hear my answer. Otherwise, please stay safe, have a great day, and thanks for watching. So which is my favourite deity and why? For me, it's always been Selune. Even before Baldur's Gate 3, when I years ago first started reading up on the Forgotten Realms lore, based on the characters I usually roleplay in various media, I have always liked playing neutral good characters and chaotic good ones, as I think that they are far more interesting than lawful good. I'm looking at you, lawful good paladins of ages past. So yeah, with Selune you have a good deity that can fit nicely with the more ambiguous but ultimately good characters. And I have also always loved the idea of good lycanthropes, to which Selune is their patron, as she is also the moon goddess. She suits any build archetypes and makes for great redemption arc characters too, as their chosen deity. And yes, I was pleased that Baldur's Gate 3 rewards Selunite worshippers with a ton of dialogue and interactions, as well as relevance to the main story. Otherwise, I do also like Mystra, as again she fits with a lot of the roleplays I like to do and is more neutral, but I would argue is ultimately a good deity given her commitment to self-sacrifice for the weave. And she also has the benefit of having some great canon champions like Elminster. While I also like Tempest, as he is great as a very much neutral bringer of change and progress through warfare and strategy, very different from the mindless brute war god archetype that we see so often. Anyway, that was my favourite deity. Make sure to let me know what yours is, and I would love to hear your thoughts. That said, have a great day and thanks for sticking around, I do appreciate it.